Hello there everyone, welcome back to another Star Wars Unlimited video. I'm going to be going over the last week and a bit worth of card reveals, which has turned out to be a lot. So we're going to go ahead and jump into it. And I think I can safely say that all of the clickbait thumbnails, where is the power and secrets of power and such, I think we found it. Unsurprisingly. Let's go ahead and just jump right into it. We're going to be starting with Mon Mothma, and I'm basically just going in release order for these. So Mon Mothma is an interesting leader. On her front side, you ignore the aspect penalties on non-official or non-black official units you play. That's a lot of units in this set. It's like probably half to a third to a half, I would say, have the official tags. So this is a lot of units. And then Epic Action, flip 3/7 for 5. Okay, Premier 5-drop stats, ignore the aspect, and then each other friendly official gains +1 HP. So you make your board tankier. I think this is probably pretty garbage in Premier. This is probably the best leader you could get so far in draft, though. Like, I think, not even in draft, but just in limited in general, because I think the ability to just expand your pool by like this much, to kind of guarantee that your curve is always going to be good. You have a 5/3/7. You make all your units stickier. I feel like Mon Mothma might be like kind of insane in limited. I'm not saying she may not be the best leader, but I'm very much like this is one I would really like to see if I'm like playing in limited event in set 5. So I think this is a really strong leader for limited. Pretty bad outside of that. We then got a 3/5. We know these are good, and a 3/7 with Restore 3. Restore 3 is a lot, but I don't think this is doing enough in just like as a general thing. But obviously, very good card for draft and limited play. Okay, then we have Leia Organa. So action, pay 1, disclose any aspect. Any aspect that isn't black. If you do, give an experience token to a unit that doesn't share an aspect with the disclosed card. And then you flip on 6 as a 4/7, and the on attack does the same thing for free. I feel like this is awful. Like this is Rey / Snoke, but way worse. Like Snoke was already worse than Rey because it had to be a black unit, and now this is even worse than that because you have to show your opponent a card in your hand, and that card in your hand has to be a different aspect to the card you're trying to buff on the field. It's like, I mean, at most you play 4 aspects in a deck, right? And often like they'll overlap. So you very rare. I just feel like the way you'd have to deck build around this feels so overly restrictive. And what are you even getting? Like, okay, you're getting Rey ability, except you flip on 6 as a 4/7. Rey also flips as a 3/6, but she will become a 4/7. And also she she a 2/6 or a 3/6? I can't even remember. Anyway, Rey's basically the same, but Rey comes with Restore 3 and the 4 straight. Like, in Premier, I think this is garbage. Maybe this is playable in limited, but again, like we compare it to Mon Mothma, who we just saw, and Mon Mothma is so obviously good. This is just like maybe it's stronger than it looks. Like if you get an engine going, right, like you just keep buffing the same card every single turn, but that might be good enough. But I just feel like I wouldn't want to rely on that, and I definitely wouldn't want to be playing off aspect cards in limited if I didn't have to. Okay. Then we got Rotunda Senate Guards. This is a 4/5 with Sentinel while it's undamaged. This could have just had Sentinel. I feel like that would have been fine. It would have been really good. Unfortunately, it's not. And then a very interesting card, Hyperspace Disaster, defeat all space units. So this is very interesting. It costing 7 is kind of rough. If this costed 6, I think this would be an incredibly good card. 7, it's just like, is this a bit too late? I think the blue-black decks that ramp might be able to get there, because against those all-space decks, this is fundamentally Laser Blaster turn earlier, and Laser Blaster turn earlier is very good against that particular type of deck. So I can see this being like a sideboard staple if once we try it out, and if it is not too slow, but it might just be too slow. I think 6 would definitely not be too slow. Because we've seen Bombing Run for 5 be really good, and this is like better than Bombing Run. So for 1 more cost than Bombing Run, I'd be like, yeah, this is really solid. For 2 more, I don't know. I can't think of any obviously good ways to cheat this card out. Like obviously, Barriss from set 5 can, if you spend the Force token, and you can do this, which is something. But I guess you can Bib Fortuna. To be fair, you can bib this out at 6, and then maybe that's really good. So maybe CAD Blue, something like that can do. So definitely like this is a card absolutely like worth considering. I think it's probably awful unlimited, but maybe this might end up being very good and constructed. We'll see. Okay, then we got a couple of crazy cards here. So we got Screeching TIE Fighter. This is just a 1-drop 2/1. On attack, choose a ground unit, it loses its keywords. Yep, the Vader Yellow will throw this right in. It's immediately replacing the set 4 1-drop mono black. It's like a 1/1 with Raid 1. Like this just goes in that slot. Ground Loft Target. So this is 6-drop yellow black 2/6. Bad stats. When played, take control of an enemy non-vehicle leader unit. Sorry, non-leader vehicle unit. When this unit leaves play, that unit's owner takes control of that unit. So you change of heart with a body, but in exchange, it's only limited. It's only vehicles. This could be a really good sideboard. Like there is a lot of vehicle decks running around, a lot of like space aggro decks, and being able to just yoink something could be really, really solid. I'm not convinced. Again, this is fast enough. It's just the kind of thing where like, okay, doing this for 6, like we have events that can do this for much cheaper than that. And it's like, honestly, like against those kind of space decks, like every turn matters. But the fact this is not cost limited is really, really good, right? So if your opponent just slams a Devastator, like they sneak attack into Devastator and you just go, yep, cool, I'll have that, and they're tapped out, suddenly that's crazy because, you know, then you just win the game basically because you get to dome your opponent with Devastator. So this could be really, really strong. I think it will depend on what the meta looks like in set 6, but I definitely not a card I'm ruling out for sure. Then Catch Unawares, attack with a unit. The defender gets -4/- over this attack. So kind of surprise strike, but bad. I'm not really sure where I'd want this. I can see this being quite good in limited because being able to get advantageous trades and like win the board in limited is obviously very, very solid. But still, I don't know. It's not terrible. Okay, Cassian Andor. This is a card I've seen a lot of discussion about, and I cannot believe how unbelievably wrong every take is. So this is a 2/2 fringe, blue-white. While this unit is defending, the attacker gets -2/-0, and if an enemy card ability would deal damage to this unit, prevent 2 of that damage, okay? So everyone's basically going, oh, well, it just loses to Waylay, or, oh, well, it's really bad when you attack with it because it's just a 2/2. Like, oh, isn't this just basically, like, kind of a bad 2/4? No. Like, I feel like people are... Yeah, okay. I don't think this card is like, oh, it loses to Power of the Dark Side, or it loses to... Yeah, okay, every 2-drop loses to Power of the Dark Side, almost. Like, I think basically every single one. Pretty much every single 2-drop loses to Waylay. Okay, this is such trite discussion points. Yes, we get it. Your 2-drop dies to removal. Well done. This card is so interesting because if you put a single upgrade on this guy, he becomes absolutely terrifying. I want you to imagine him with a blade, right? Like just slap a lightsaber on him. He's a 5/5. Your opponent has to swing for 7 to kill him on turn 2. And your opponent can't ping Tarkin Town it. Your opponent can't try and remove it with like direct damage effects. Like it becomes very, very difficult. This card becomes unbelievably sticky with any kind of upgrade on it, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing is, yeah, okay, these outs exist in set 6. Think about set 7. We have no idea what's going to get reprinted. And I always think about, right, like, okay, there's kind of 3 options, right? The first option is we get identical reprints to basically all of the year 1 staples. And in that case, yes, this card probably will never be that good because realistically, suiting him up is going to be a bit difficult. We've sort of seen that. Okay. If that's the case, I do question why we're rotating. And from everything I've heard from the devs, I kind of suspect that's the least likely option. The second option is we get functional reprints. Okay, so we get like maybe slightly weaker versions or slightly different versions. Okay, in that case, we don't really know what that's going to look like, and we'll need to see. It may be that we get, you know, if we get a Power of the Dark Side functional reprint, it's basically as good. It may be that it costs 4, and suddenly this gets way better because you can suit it up, dome, and then your opponent now has to pass their basically 4 resource turn in order to do something. I don't know, right? I have no knowledge. I'm just like speculating, and maybe that you know they don't end up reprinting Waylay, and our best version of Waylay is the Force Waylay from set 4, from set 5, sorry, and that costs 4. So that's an option there. And then, of course, the most crazy option, the third option, we basically get no functional reprints, or no reprints at all. And suddenly, like, thinking about this card in a world without, like, Power of the Dark Side or Waylay or, like, Overwhelming Barrage and things like that, I'm like, wait, this is insane. This card is, like, terrifying. It's going to be so sticky and so hard to answer. So, I mean, I'm staking my claim now, like, post-rotation, if we don't see a lot of very meaningful, like, reprints or functional reprints, this card's going to be absolutely insane. I think it's probably fine now. It's kind of just Crafty Smuggler, except it's much more resilient than that because it's going to sit there forever. Also, this card in like a Ray deck is insane. You make it a 3/3 like on turn 2, like that's very, very sticky. This card is just so good. I'm baffled by how bad the takes I've heard talking about this card are. So we'll see if I'm wrong, if I'm the crazy who overrates this card, but I think this card's absolutely nuts. Okay. Then we've got Junior Senator. This is a 3/2. When played, you may return an upgrade that costs 3 or less to its owner's hand. I think this is pretty solid, honestly. Yeah, it's probably better in draft, but like not bad. I mean, there's reasonable stats. Problem is obviously now the stats have moved to 2/4, so this is obviously significantly worse in that world. But a meaningful ability, and not horrifically expensive, so playable potentially. Corporal Warmongering. Give a friendly unit +3/+3 for the phase, and then give each other friendly unit +1/+1 for the phase. So this is very interesting. Obviously, if you're able to play this, if this kind of like go wide spy token strategy works, this is immediately terrifying, right? Because suddenly you have like a bunch of 3/3s, you have like a 6/6 or something, and suddenly your opponent's like totally fucked. How likely is that to happen? Again, remains to be seen. And this is something that probably gets a lot better post-rotation, again, with that same sort of conversation, if we go down that route without reprints. So we'll see. I think right now this is probably not good, but TBD. And then Chancellor Valorum, so it's double green, so we can immediately say it's bad. But it's a Republic 3/7. When this unit completes to be fair, just double checking. To be fair, we can play this with Mon Mothma, so if you get this in limited, you're probably pretty happy with Mon Mothma. When this unit completes an attack, you may disclose green, green, green if you do ramp. Okay, so Mon Mothma probably likes it, but it's pretty bad elsewhere. I mean, to be fair, this is not like horrifically bad, but yeah, I don't know. Just maybe double green in expanded will finally hit like a point where it's just ramping so fast that nothing keeps up. We'll see. Okay, next we got Governor Price. So this is our red-black leader. I think this is our last red-black leader. Action, pay 1, ready a token unit. Okay, maybe good. And then flips on 6. It's a 4/6. Gains +1 for each ready friendly token unit. On attack, you create a spy token. So, okay, this is very, very interesting. Maybe this is the leader we can try this ECL go wide strategy in. Maybe this might be it. Being able to get extra tokens means you're never going to have initiative, right? Like, that is the issue. But if your opponent can't keep up with like the level of token spam, and again, this is really going to depend on like how many tokens we get. But this card, and like you plot out like, if you could plot out like the Palpatine, you make 2 tokens. I think this is a 6/6 for 6. Okay, that's quite large. You have even 1 or 2 extra tokens lying around, so I think it's a 7/6. Okay, we're talking like Anakin stats now. That's very scary. So I don't know. I think in limited, this card could be quite a menace because I am expecting there to be spy tokens all over the place. And obviously, like being able to just on attack create more value like that, force your opponent to like answer your stuff. This could be really, really good. It is a rare leader, which tells me that it's probably not great in limited. But often those rare leaders are designed for much more constructed play. So probably not. But I don't know. I'd want to try this in limited for sure, depending on how easy it is to make these spy tokens. Okay, now we got some crazy stuff. Grand Admiral Thrawn. This is an 8/7 Imperial official. When played, an opponent may choose a non-leader unit they control. If they do, this unit captures that unit. If they don't, ready this unit. When defeated, a friendly unit captures an enemy non-leader unit in the same arena. So this card is really interesting. So let's take it one by one. When played, your opponent's always going to give you the worst option, right? So you're either going to capture something a bit crap, or your opponent's going to let it ready and they're going to have removal. Okay. That is the worst case scenario for this card. And when we compare just that bit to, for example, Cad Bane from set 3, Cad Bane is obviously better. However, this card has a when defeated ability. A friendly unit captures an enemy non-leader unit in the same arena. Okay, so when defeated, we are capturing one of the opponent's cards. So this is kind of a 2-for-1. Not really, but depending on what the board looks like, this can end up being really, really good. I feel like we shouldn't ignore that when defeated ability when evaluating this card. I think the upside that I would want to draw to people's attention is if your opponent is like tapped out or your opponent doesn't have units on the board, this just comes in ready, right? Like imagine your opponent super laser blasts you, they're tapped out. Okay, I play Thrawn. You cannot give me a unit, so now I ready my unit and I dome you for 8. That's obviously a very, very strong potential proposition. So I don't know. This card, I don't read this and go, holy shit, this is broken. But I do read this and go, okay, depending on where the meta shakes up and like how this slots in to like handle different decks, this could be really, really good. It could also be really, really bad. Post rotation, obviously, this is like now our best option in yellow black. So yeah, once CAD is gone, we will be looking at this guy. But I don't think it's bad at all. I think this is an interesting card for sure. Arrest. This is a very interesting card. Your base captures an enemy non-leader unit, and at the start of the regroup phase, its owner rescues it. So this is really interesting. Being able to just always capture something, and especially just for 2, is very, very good. So if your opponent like starts suiting something up, and you just go, actually, I'll have that, right? And this is the kind of card that would like massively screw over a big Cassian, for example, if that happens. So yeah, I don't know how good this will be because obviously your opponent gets it back, but a lot of the time your opponent is like, you know, they have this one huge unit and you just have to delay it, right? Like you actually have lethal on board, but you're going to lose first. So you just going, actually, that one unit that was going to win you the game, now it's gone, potentially just shuts them out of a lethal and like gives you one. That could be really, really relevant. So definitely a card I'll be interested in experimenting with. Not sure if it's better than No Good to Me Dead. It's probably worse than No Good to Me Dead, but it obviously depends on what that unit is. If it's bountied, if it has upgrades on it that will fall off, that sort of thing. So need to see, but probably worse than No Good to Me Dead. And then Enforcer Squadron, there's a 5/3 hidden for 4. It's probably bad. Okay. Ambitions Reward, this is an upgrade that makes a spy token. I guess for what it's worth, this in Kylo Red is actually probably quite good because it gives you Power of the Dark Side insulation. So let's, credit there. The Galleon. This is a 7-drop 6/6. When played, disclose red, red, black. If you do, create 3 spy tokens. So I feel like this in Limited is probably extremely strong. I don't know how good this will be in Constructed. It does feel a bit slow. You're not really doing a huge amount. But I think, yeah, in Limited, this is probably like absolutely terrifying. And then Hondo Anarchus. This is a 6-drop 6/6. Each other friendly unit gains raid 1 and plot. So again, Limited Bomb probably not convinced this will see played and constructed, but buffing a wide board full of spy tokens in Limited seems very, very good. Suddenly everything's 3 attack. Yeah, I don't know. This could be quite solid. Obviously, like you plot out Hondo, or you have a wide board with general price and with governor price, and suddenly like your whole board's getting +1, and you're like, whoa, okay, everything's big. So yeah, could be good. Could be good. Okay. Unauthorized investigation. Create a spy token, and then you may disclose red. If you do, create another spy token. So 3 costs to make 2 spy tokens. Probably good in Limited, probably bad elsewhere. And even then, good in Limited, I'm like, Tempest Assault. This is an interesting card. If you've dealt damage to an enemy base this phase, deal 2 damage to each enemy space unit. This is kind of nuts. So if you think, like, the big matchup I'm thinking about here is like Space Aggro, like Vader Yellow. This is absolutely devastating for Vader Yellow decks, especially if you have Tarkin Town, because this will basically board wipe them, right? Like you have your Tarkin Town to answer their 2/4, they're the Victor leader, and then all their tokens disappear, and at best they're left with like 1 or 2 ships, right? You've just completely answered their board, and maybe a token, right? On 4, that's very, very good. And then like you do this again next turn, and like they're definitely done for, right? So this is kind of crazy. Definitely like a card that I'll be like, yeah, this is, and like, well, to be fair, red also has bombing run, so like you definitely want to like red, I guess probably wasn't struggling, but now it's like extra not struggling, and this is going to be available post rotation, and it's cheaper, so it does a little bit less damage, but it is cheaper. I don't know, it's probably quite good. The fact you have to have dealt damage to an enemy base is the sort of issue, but I don't know, it seems very, very solid. Okay, then we've got Alexander Callus. So while you have the initiative, each other friendly unique unit gains raid 2. Okay. When played, deal 2 damage to each up to 3 ground units. Again, this feels like a limited, like, complete bomb. Delete 3 spy tokens, basically. Premier, probably too slow. Like, the stats are scary. It is a rebel, sure. And obviously, like, buffing everything by raid 2, like, that is really, really scary. Like, this could just give you lethal out of nowhere, right? But a lot of things give you lethal out of nowhere for 7 resources, like smuggling out a Cassian, for example. So, not 100% sure I want to play it for this reason. And the when played is really good against go wide decks, but again, this does feel just a little bit too slow. So I think, again, Limited, like, this is probably really, really, really scary, but Constructed, probably not good enough. Okay, Lando Calrissian. 7-drop 6/8, big stats, grit, interesting. When played, you may choose an enemy unit and another friendly non-leader unit. If you do, heal 6 damage from your base, and the enemy unit captures the friendly unit. This is insane. Yes, heal 6 is very good in generic blue. oh my god. Yes, I feel like this is going to be a staple card in like pretty much every blue deck that can play it, because oftentimes your biggest issue is just getting to the laser blast, right? And this is just going to get you to laser blast. Yeah, this card's just insane. And then there's synergy with DJ, the really weird new leader, which we'll come on to in a moment. But yeah, this card seems very, very strong. Okay, then we've got Emissary Sheathpede. This is a 2/4 in space, but when defeated, each opponent may ready a resource. I suspect this is probably not that big a deal, actually. Like, one resource is kind of, like, fine. Like, the issue with, like, Evazan was it was, like, 12. So, like, your opponent got everything back. Getting back 1, I think this is probably good enough. And then Theed Security is a 2/3, but when played, if an opponent controls an upgrade, you give an experience token to a unit. So this can become as a 3/4. No, 3/4 for 2 is obviously very good. So depending on where the meta is, this could be really, really strong as well. Okay, Dryden Boss. This is a crazy card. On attack, you may double this unit's power for this attack. If you do, this unit doesn't ready during the next regroup phase. So this surprise strikes for 10. It blasters for 8, right? Like, this scales absolutely ridiculously. Like, the more of a pump you can give this card, the more terrifying it is. We'll see there is a absolutely, like, easy potential for this card to do 12, 14 damage, like, immediately, basically, like, on your 5 resource turns. So this is very, very scary. It also, for what it's worth, ECLs for 4. Like, as a 4/5, not awful, but yeah, this card is really scary. Obviously, its stats are garbage, but if your opponent basically doesn't instantly remove it, like, you could suddenly dome them for like 10, which is a lot of damage. So yeah, this card is very, 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 very interesting. Okay, then we got shout out the Nexus boys. We got Defense Fleet X-Wing. This is a 1/4 Sentinel in space. It's fine, I guess. It's okay. We get some options, I guess. Covert Operative, this is a 2/4. When played, this unit captures an enemy non-lead unit that costs 2 or less. If this was a 3 cost, I think this would be really, really good. As a 4 cost, this is just a bit too slow. And then 1 in a million. So this card I thought was broken on when I first read it, but it's actually kind of terrible. This card can't be played from your hand. Defeat a unit with power and remaining HP, both equal to the number of ready resources you control. That's the issue, right? It has to be equal to the number of ready resources you control. Like, you can only plot this out. It needs to be equal. Like, it's fucking awful. Like, this is so unplayable. Like, if it was power or remaining HP, this would immediately jumps in, like, viability. I don't know. Like, I mean, obviously 1 cost removal is potentially very strong, but it's just terrible. It's just terrible. Lone Shark, Shadow's Mark. Lone Shark, 4-drop 2/5 with Ambush and Raid 1s. This is a 3/5 Ambusher. It's probably quite good in Limited. And then Academy Disciplinarian, this is a 3/4 for 3. When played, you may deal 1 damage to a friendly unit with 2 or less power and ready it. So obviously the combo is here with Dryden Voss. So you can imagine you swing with Dryden Voss, like surprise strike it. It deals 10 to your opponent. You then untap this, you swing with it again, you've dealt 14. That's quite a lot of damage in an aggro deck. So yeah, definitely we are starting to potentially get to that critical stage where we are getting enough of these decks, and maybe there is finally going to be an ECL leader that lets us do it. We will see. Okay, next we've got Bail Organa. Action, pay 1. If a friendly unit was defeated this phase, return a friendly resource to its owner's hand. If you do, put the top card of your deck into play as a resource. Okay. Action, discard 2 from your hand. Deploy. Okay, so not an epic action. Comes down as a 4/3/3. When you play a card from your resources, heal 1 from your base. So this is basically plot.deck, right? Like, that's how this works. This is probably awful, but maybe isn't. Like, the thing is, you're always drawing 2 a turn, right? And you're kind of, if you can pay 1 to make it draw 3. So you can keep resourcing up to a certain level while deploying this guy, making 2 bodies, potentially more, depending on what the plots you're playing in your deck are. This is going to be a really weird style of leader. Obviously, like, its potential as an aggro leader is the thing you're going to be interested in most, because you're guaranteed always just getting bodies, right? If you think about it, you resource up to 4. And then you just go, okay, cool, pitch 2, deploy him, plot, put out some guys, right? Like, put out Jar Jar Binks, whatever, that's just a body, makes this guy 5/5. Like, you just start plotting, you just start, like, you know, smuggling, like, you just keep those cards in your hand, and then you draw 2 every single turn, so you can keep bringing this out. You will get outpaced eventually, so the question is, essentially, is this going to be fast enough? Maybe? A 3/3 is, like, not great, but 3 attack is, like, reasonable. And obviously you keep healing, so maybe that's something, I don't know. I'll be interested in trying it out. I suspect it's bad, but hey, you never know. We have to look through all the plots. So, for example, Druselian Commando, this is a 4/5 ambush that comes out with plot, right? So you could do this with Bale if you wanted to. It's not great, but sure. Crucible, 6-drop 5/5. When played and when defeated, give an experience token to each other friendly unit. Oh my god. This card is ridiculous in limited formats. Absolutely ridiculous. Probably not playable in constructed, but holy shit in limited. And then restore freedom, play a unit from your hand, it costs 1 less for each heroic aspect icon among friendly units. So if you have 3 units out, you're basically getting a discount. You're getting more of a discount, but like, when is that going to happen realistically? This is probably quite bad. Okay, now we get our weird leader. So this is DJ. Action, tap, choose a friendly unit. If you do play a unit from your hand, it costs 1 less. And then the chosen unit captures it. So basically, you cheat out a unit that costs 1 less, but then your unit captures that unit. Now your when playeds will resolve after the unit's captured, which matters. So like you can't ambush, for example, shielded does nothing. So you're really looking at like other meaningful when playeds. Think things like Anakin ability or things like Lando Calrissian, right? So the way Lando will work is Lando comes in, Lando gets captured. You then give your opponent the unit that has captured Lando, heal 6, and then Lando comes back out, right? So that's, and you get to do that on 6 resources. That's obviously a huge power play, right? Heal 6, produce a 6/8 body that has grit, flip your DJ. That's potentially very, very scary, right? Okay. DJ is a 4/6 with Saboteur, and friendly units that are rescued enter play ready. So there's also a very crazy combo here where you flip DJ, right? So if your opponent lets this happen, right, you have a bunch of units stacked under something. It doesn't even need to be that many, right? Like even 1 or 2 is like going to be enough. Your opponent has you have a couple of units stacked up underneath your units. You flip DJ, your opponent doesn't immediately kill DJ. You then evacuate. Evacuate bounces the whole board, but all your stuff then gets uncaptured and it comes in ready. Maybe that's good enough. I don't know. It's like, obviously, all your stuff is going to come in like rested when it's freed, right? But you are cheating costs. So with anything, right, I look at it and I go, okay, cool, I'm cheating costs. There's got to be something considered. Now, here's the other thing. This is double yellow on a leader, right? Whoa, okay. Let's think about that for a moment. Because now, double yellow is coming base. There's a lot of very strong double yellow cards. And then we're also going to be able to play another aspect. Now, I think blue is sort of the one that people are generally looking at because there's a lot of very good generic blues, but there's a lot of very good generic cards across the game. So we'll need to sort of have a look. This is a very, very interesting leader. Can we break it? Maybe. I do like the idea of a final showdown deck here. Could be fun. I do like the idea of being able to finally play these double cunning cards, right? Like, we can play cunning again. We can play, like, Cantina Bouncer. We can play all these really strong double yellow cards that have been released since Boba got banned. I've basically seen no play. Thinking like The Mandalorian, for example. Like, these could all be very, very good. The card pool is going to be very restrictive, but let's see what we can do. I think this could be very, very, very solid. It also could be terrible. And then here's one of our big build-around pieces, which is Libertines. This is a 3/7 that gains a +1/+0 for each captured card it's guarding. And then when played, choose an enemy unit and a non-leader friendly unit. The enemy unit captures the friendly unit, right? So when played, so basically the idea is you play this out on turn 2. It gets captured by your unit. You then resolve the when played. You give your opponent then captures your unit, freeing this. So you then get your 3/7 in space for 3 resources, which is obviously very, very strong. But power dark side and such, blah blah blah. But very potentially powerful play. And then this potentially becomes a very annoying card because if it just sits there and you just keep capturing your own stuff and jamming it underneath it, this becomes a 4/7, then a 5/7, then a 6/7. This becomes very, very large, very, very quickly. So potentially quite good. I mean, you make this a 4/7 in space, like that's really, really good. So, and obviously you're then playing it like a 5 cost, right? Like that's going to come out the moment your opponent answers it. So I don't know, it might be good. Then we've got Cicatro Vizago. This is a 3/4 on attack. Reveal the top card of your deck. An opponent will play 1 if they don't draw that card. This is probably very, very good and limited. Probably very, very bad outside of that. And then the Wrong Ride. This card is wild. So exhaust 2 enemy resources, and then it has plot. This has so much potential because basically the idea is you're going to use this at the critical point in your opponent's curve where there is like there's an inflection point where they need to see a particular card, and if they don't, they kind of just lose. So for example, your opponent, you have initiative going into 8 resources against a blue-black deck. You know you only lose to Super Laser Blast. You flip your leader or you just hard play this, tap 2 of your opponent's resources, they cannot Super Laser Blast. That's an example. Another example is you're playing Sabine, your opponent, you decide to hold off on your leader deploy to then flip on 5, expecting your opponent to have a barrage, where you then tap 2 of your opponent's resources, and you pay 5 for that, but you're fine because now your opponent can't barrage you, and you have enough units on the board that you get to run away with the game. These are potential options, right? I'm saying like off aspect you could play this. So this is a really, really interesting card. I think this will see a lot of play. I think this will see a lot of play off aspect, provided there are enough points in those curves where, like, disrupting your opponent is basically going to swing the game in your favor in that one like play. Okay, then we got just an absolute wham of cards here. So we have another 2/4 that's 4th Sith traded. This card is obviously very, very good. We like 2/4s. Exile from the Force is a 1-drop double blue upgrade. Attached unit loses Force and all abilities, but gains Grit. I mean, giving Grit to something is very interesting. Very, very interesting indeed. I don't know, man. I think the problem is you can't combo this in Kylo Red because you lose the on-attack abilities from the holocrons. But I don't know. Grit is always like a very scary ability if you can start damaging something. So we'll see. Darth Scion. This is a 5-drop, 5/5, 4 Sith rated. When played, give an experience token to this unit for each enemy unit that was defeated this phase. Okay, so this is probably a 6/6 or a 7/7. When defeated, if this unit has 7 or more power, return him to his owner's hand. There's a lot of ways to get this to 7 power. I think, like, you slap a blaster on it, for example, boom, right? Like, it's 7 power, and now you're getting it back. This is a really, really interesting card. I feel like it's good, like, as a recursion strategy. There's also, like, some potential, like, stuff you can do, like, where you exploit it, and it's like an engine that you just keep getting it back, or you consolidation of power it or something, right? And, like, you get to do that. I don't know how good that stuff will be. It's being Sith trait. It's also like very relevant for the bad Sith card from set 5 that now maybe not bad if we get a critical mass of these Sith units. Yeah, I don't know. This is very, very interesting. It doesn't immediately seem broken, but it doesn't seem bad. It seems like quite solid. Then we've got Lost Jedi. This is a 1/3 with Grit. Probably bad. Disciples Devotion. This is a +1/+3 for 3. And while the attached unit is exhausted against Sentinel, again, probably bad. Hunting Assassin Droid, this is a 3/4, while the enemy is damaged, it gains raid 2. So it does trade up, it becomes like a 5/4 on attack. This might be quite good, maybe. Republic Orex Starfighter, this is a 2/3 with Grit for 3. Probably not good enough. Warrior of Clan Order, this is, I think, very good. So on attack, it's a 3/3 for 2. On attack, disclose red if you don't deal damage to your base. So basically, this is a 3/3. Like, if you're playing this in a red deck, you will have red to disclose. And this being a 3/3 for 2 is really, really solid. Like, we know that is a very good stat line. That red having access to is quite a big deal. Darth Treya. Okay, this is our crazy one. So this is a 3-drop yellow-black 4 Sith 2/5 on attack. You may ready a non-lethal unit. Whoa, okay. So, I mean, the first thing is there is an infinite loop with GI and Tragedy of Darth Plagueis the Wise. Well, basically what you do is you play Darth Treya, and then you Plagueis the Wise, saying your Darth Treya can't be defeated by having no HP, and then you swing with Treya, GI untap, swing with Treya, you untap your GI, you then GI untap the Treya, and you can do that infinitely because she can't be defeated, the damage you're dealing to her. The other thing is, if you slap a Darth Revan's lightsaber on her or something, then she gains Grit, and then she becomes like, then you can wait until like she's got infinite damage or something, and then you go boom, infinite or something, right? Like, funny. This is probably bad. It says that combo is probably bad, but this card is obviously not. And I think like one big place I'm looking at is like Talzin Yellow, because like suddenly this turns on Talzin like multiple times a turn. You just get to gain a lot of value. And I think now we probably have a critical mass of like cheap Force enablers that Talzin Yellow can actually be a thing. So I don't know. I think this is very, very strong. This is going to open up the game a lot in that kind of style of strategy. I will be experimenting with Talzin Yellow for sure. I know Phenom on my team has also like been really interested in this ever since Darth Treya got revealed. So we'll see. But yeah, very, very solid card. And then Krea's Whispers, draw 3, then put a card from your hand on top of your deck and another card from your hand on the bottom of your deck. I mean, for 2, maybe that's pretty good. A big consistency boost. If your deck would be happy passing turn 2, but passing turn 1, basically, then this is actually quite solid. Especially for the stacking, could be really, really crazy with something like, well, first off, with something like Ray, right? So you can draw the Rays and then gain the 2 pings and then stack it back on top to do it again or something. But then the other thing is if you get something like, As I Foreseen, the card that cheats something out, and suddenly you can set that up really easily. So this becomes absolutely nuts, potentially. So definitely like something to investigate for sure. And like that's something that a Talzin Yellow deck can do. So I'll be looking into it. Obviously, you know, you need the force for it to be good. So this is not necessarily something you do turn 1, but yeah, really, really scary. Okay, then we get this crazy card, Ebon Hawk. So this is a 3/3. One attack you may disclose yellow and or black. If you disclosed, white and or black. If you disclose white, this unit gains +2 for this attacks. This is attacks for 5. That's wild. And if you disclose black, give the defender -4/-0. So this can potentially kill a 9 HP space unit. This can potentially kill a 5 HP space unit, and that unit would need to have 7 attack to kill it back. But also, this just trades into pretty much everything, like, super favorably. And it also is just, like, a very high pressure, like, unit. This surprise strikes for 8. Like, what? That's insane. This card seems very, very scary. Obviously, you're going to have to find the shell, but this is bloody scary, I think. Sith Assassins is a 3/2 hidden for 2. Force and Sith traded, so, again, we care about those traits, so this might be good enough. And then Darth Nihilus, I think this is probably the dud. 7-drop 6/6. When played, add an attack, deal 3 damage to the unit with the least remaining HP among other units. And unfortunately, if multiple units are tied, you choose 1. So if this did it to all, this would be very scary. Just 1, I don't know. If it's a non-vehicle unit, you give an experience token to this unit, right? So if you kill a ground unit, this becomes a 7/7. Now, obviously, this is a repeatable thing. Can be quite scary. I just think it's too late. I just think it's coming out too late. If this was like a 6-drop, or like a 5-drop, oh my god. We'd be cooking, but yeah, I don't know. I think this is just too slow. Undercover Operation. Ready a unit that was played this phase. If it costs 3 or less, create a spy token. Okay, it's fine. Zam Westfold is a 2-drop 1/5. While this unit's upgraded, she gains Grit. So that's potentially very, very scary. A 1/5 is kind of bad, but also if you put a blaster on her, suddenly she is a 3/5, except she hit grits, so she becomes really, really scary. I like that, so I think this could be quite solid. Definitely a card I'd be happy to see limited. Creditors Claim. Attached unit gains when defeated. You may defeat a unit with 3 or less remaining HP. I think this is very, very good. So obviously, like, synergizes super well here. You make this a 3/8 with like 3/7 with like that's gonna kill something back and then also like is gritted up. So this could be really, really good. But yeah, I think both these cards are very, very solid. Lama Su. Action, tap, play an upgrade from your hand onto a friendly non-vehicle unit. It costs 1 less if you do deal 1 damage to that unit. Deploys on 6 as a 3/7. When this completes an attack, you may play an upgrade from your discard pile onto a friendly non-vehicle unit. It costs 1 less. This is bad. Bro is not Kylo. Okay, and then finally, Nimble Prowess. Attached to a friendly unit. When played, you may exhaust the unit in the attached unit's arena. I think that's quite good, actually. +1/+1 and then exhaust something. It's pretty good. I could see this being quite nice in like a Kylo deck. Aggressive Negotiations. This is the card I was talking about. Attack with the unit. For this attack, it gains +1/+0 for each card in your hand. So Dedra might not be a meme because you can suddenly stack loads and loads of cards in your hand. And then if you play out, I forgot his name, Dryden Voss, you play this guy out, and then you can, I mean, if you have like 5 cards in your hand, right, like suddenly Dryden attacks for 14, which is ridiculous. So yeah, I think this could be really, really scary. And then Zetan Morge. This is a 4-drop 4/5. When you take initiative, deal 2 damage to a base. This is also very, very scary as an aggro card, and it's generically useful. So there we go. Okay, we are officially caught up with all of the reveals. We are a month out from set release as of the time of recording this. I think we've got probably half to 2/3 of the set, so we got a lot of it. But still plenty of card reveals still to see. And do subscribe to the channel to see those as and when they come out. Like the video if you enjoyed it. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below, particularly about my hot take about Cassian. And I hope to see you guys in the next video. Cheers.